how to grow wealth. A path would be have a business. I find always the people that ever support you along the way, kind of the property angel, and I dabble a little bit on crypto. It was a bit of luck. Although I'm not so lucky enough, I actually learned about crypto. The time was 2012. 0.15. And I was moving to New Zealand. I had the money, but I almost got my minor working. Didn't. Biggest mistake. And of course, it was very hard to get into crypto. Now you can buy crypto and transact with crypto very easy. Well, it's still not fluid, but it's easy.
So thank you for coming on. We really appreciate you spending the time and coming to talk about a bit of your journey. Yes. That's about excited to have you on. So thank you.
What are you working on at the moment to grow your wealth?
I dabble in three things. I have a property portfolio that it's kind of doing what it does. Yes. That also produce a cash flow, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Then I have I'm an angel investor.
Okay.
I invest in startups.
Yeah.
And that's a long-term proposition, but I love the ecosystem, and I think you see what I feel. I think you have experienced somehow the benefits of the angel investors here, so benefit for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the early stage of the ecosystem is quite strong. Yeah, actually, relative to I guess where we're at. I'd say your first couple of checks is quite an achievable thing, and there's a good ecosystem for doing that.
Yes.
And then, but I would say that there's also kind of a bit of a gap potentially for that third and fourth check. And then obviously, if you're looking at later rounds, it's very difficult. So yeah, it's quite a thriving ecosystem, and it makes sense actually.
Well, how I see this is I see me feel as a platform. So to get the ball rolling, to get the customers, to prove how it's set and so on. And ideally, if you go to overseas markets, then you can find funding overseas.
That's right.
But once you have proven yourself here, it's a fabulous platform then to find the next round overseas.
Yeah.
And New Zealand is a small country, so it's no question that there's not the amount of money or the amount of resources. So
Yeah, you have less like I guess large checks that can come in, and institutionalized kind of checks that can help lead rounds. But there are some great groups, FKA obviously, which you're affiliated with, and then you do have Icehouse as well, and then you've got a number of other angel groups throughout the country as well that have been doing their thing for the last like 20 years.
not only that, the government is also supporting entrepreneurship by Callahan.
Yeah.
So there are many opportunities here for so that would be not necessarily the answer to how I grow wealth, but an alternative is to have a business idea and then prove it through pretty or find backers.
Yes.
And then there is a whole plethora of opportunities. And actually, I'm joined FKA recently, so it's probably a year ago. Although I've been getting around for a while, and I'm super pleased with the quality of people. They're really people that wants to help, so they really want to succeed. So help the founders to succeed. For example, ADI have a clinic every Thursday. It's free. It's 20 minutes. Bring your idea. There is no expectation. So it doesn't matter where you are in the journey. So that would be, if you ask me how to grow wealth, a path would be have a business idea and then find who is the people that ever support you along the way. I also dabble a little bit, so kind of the property angel, and I dabble a little bit in crypto. But that was a bit of luck. Although I'm not so lucky enough, I actually learned about crypto, and also the time was 2012, 0.15.
Whoa.
And I was moving to New Zealand, and I had the money, but I almost got my minor working. Didn't. Biggest mistake. And of course, it was very hard to get into crypto. Now you can buy crypto and transact with crypto very easy. Well, it's still not fluid, but it's easier. Way easy.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, we've made it very easy to trade in.
It's a crypto hub
in crypto. Easy Crypto made it quite easy too. So there are ramps. Yes. They go straight. You can get it straight to your wallet, and it's from a bank transfer. With us, you can trade from your US dollar balance it straight into crypto, so you don't have to worry about stable coins as well.
Yeah.
So there's a couple routes there, and then you obviously you've got the ETFs. However, the ETFs are very expensive. People need to consider when they buy the ETFs that they're paying perhaps up to 2% in management fees from the ETFs.
Correct.
So that's an important piece to note, because you may as well buy the actual thing if you can, if you're going to obviously invest in that.
No, I think that it's important that you sort of make a caveat because not everybody has the risk tolerance too. So he sees to talk about crypto today that has shoot to the roof. You pass the 90,000 US. So he sees to talk about that today. But about 2 months ago, it was not a good conversation. So even though crypto is a possible path, it's important to have the caveat that you need to have the stomach to ride the waves up and down because
Well, you need to learn and get an understanding of what crypto is trying to be.
Yeah.
You need to understand what the trade is.
yes, right. And there are multiple paths in the crypto space. But I think that you're totally right. It's first the volatility is high. How do you? So there are multiple aspects about this, and I think this is a bet in a possibility in the future. I don't think this is so we don't know what's going to happen. BRICS may come in, the dollar as a fiat currency may change. So a lot of things are happening in the finance world. So to say crypto is a path would be irresponsible. Crypto is a possible path.
It's a bet against fiat currency.
It's epic.
That's really, and it's a momentum-driven
If
bet against cryptocurrency, which happens to also be correlated with large cap tech.
yes,
The Nasdaq 100. So it's really good to know what it is and then you kind of have a conversation about, like you say, it makes sense why that bet exists, right?
yes, yeah.
That bet exists because of irresponsible fiscal kind of outcomes and kind of arrangement of government, I guess, which has been exacerbated by COVID.
Yes.
But was actually going on since 2000.
But the problem with the fiat currency has been present since 2008. And when after the GFC, the key levers of derivatives or other instruments in the market were not really addressed. People got a pat in the hand and back of the hand. You shouldn't do that. Nobody went jail. Nothing really happened. So the key levers for that to occur again are the still present.
Well, yeah. Well, they did regulate banks slightly, and then what happened is basically shadow banks took over that volume,
Yeah.
and basically ate up that demand.
Yeah.
So now you actually just don't know where you actually have less visibility over where the problems or where the debt may lie. It's a big problem I have, or a concern I have with private debt, because anything private, startups as well, you don't know the value of it until 10 years later.
Absolutely.
And we get a sense, and it actually is quite nicely in hand talks to the crypto play of, you have to have a good stomach because the volatility day to day is high, which is the complete opposite to a startup or a private equity deal or private debt, because it doesn't get marked every day. So what we found as well in the industry is that industry likes to go, or is kind of there's a push towards private kind of asset classes, partially because the investors don't have to deal with the psychological turmoil of seeing a book marked dramatically different from day to day. But it also creates, I guess, slightly less visibility.
Yeah. So by the way, I have also have a little bit in the share markets overseas, but that's not my most of the money has been at the moment is in property, and I actually want to divest some of that to relocate the fund somewhere else. But there were some personal reasons nothing brought to that, logistical reasons to have the money parked in property for a while. So again, I don't think that there is a safe bet. That is an important thing. Property also goes through cycles, so everything goes through cycles. Some of the cycles have larger bets and bigger peaks, and then But overall, I think that the key important thing is, I think we talk about that, Chario, the last time, is to have a long-term view. So where are you heading long-term? Invest in the share market, invest.
And I'm also thinking about the objective of the asset. Again, I think like the objective of the part of your portfolio that is doing a certain thing is, in my mind, actually potentially the most important thing. Yes. My property portfolio is there to provide positive cash flow. Now, if it's not providing positive cash flow, is it achieving its objective? And my crypto part of my portfolio is a hedge against fiat currency.
And you can talk about gold and silver and the hedge. The only thing that I like it and I don't like it, the part that I would like, so the part about liking it is a good hedge. The part that I don't like it is the volatility.
Was the same volatility as Bitcoin because it's not a productive asset. So
Yeah, but it doesn't produce anything.
whoever turns up that day to buy or sell is basically going to drive the market.
And then you have storage situations. So as only a little bit, but so I think it's important, the distinction, what money are you using for what. So I see the gold and silver investment that I have is more a hedge. I have crypto is more a bet in the future. Also, angels money is a bet in the future, but I also love the ecosystem. I enjoy thoroughly the space the space here in New Zealand. So I'll kind of go all overseas. And then property pays cash flow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's awesome.
yeah.
Do you think your in-depth experience as a coach kind of hooks into that angel investing, like the wanting to support people to are better at what they do? It's another way to help people move forward, right?
Absolutely. I work in the space of leadership coaching and I support entrepreneurs in the established space. So I have worked with the top end of time with the big corporates and that do some of the work there, but I also work with entrepreneurs that then half a million to a million years. And I have a ground, okay, what do you want to achieve? Even though I work in the mindset space, in the leadership space, at the beginning of some of my retainer clients, I forget, okay, how much money you want to make this year? And it's not because it's the money what is important thing, but it's important to have a ground, what are you heading to? And then to have some kind of milestones another way. And it fascinates me that even though I have some literacy, I have some hobbies, they have some literacy on finances and this I did an MBA and whatever. That's not the space where I work, but we can have those conversations. But is the mindset which is one of the key drivers to how we see the world. And money and actually just before the podcast started, we were talking about financial literacy, and unfortunately, this is like in everywhere. So I think that the education system should have math literacy, English literacy, and financial literacy should be one of the components. And of course, whatever the person likes is music, the thing, biology, chemistry, and so. But financial literacy. So hence, this we repeating what we said before the podcast. But I think if this is a phenomenal form to supplement or to help a little bit of this space.
I think finance is taught to us. There's a survival instinct around money, and that's why it's obviously so necessary when you deal with coaching that is adjacent to finances. It often becomes a part of the conversation because it's an innate survival piece here where it's ingrained in us to.
Well, we have a bunch of beliefs that we were inherited but parted from society, from money is the root of evil, money doesn't go on trees, to people have money are corrupt, to people that have money. So there's a bunch of things. So if I want to create wealth, and I think that in the back of my mind, I think that the money is the root of evil. And actually, I think it's the love of money the root of evil. But if you think that it is evil, or that I'm going to be corrupt, I have what in coaching space is called conflicting intention. So, and a conflicting intention is a handbrake to whatever you want to create.
So you support people with kind of their journey on getting their mindset where they need it to be for whatever they want to achieve. Where do you think your mindset came from in your endeavor to build your and your family's wealth?
Uh, I was super lucky, super lucky. I I come from Venezuela, and in Venezuela in '92 when I did an MBA, but the stars were aligned. Have incredible peers and incredible teachers, and that particular university had a exchange program with Cornell University, with Chapel Hills, North Carolina. So there was a thriving environment of and incredible professors. And I had a phenomenal professor, Daniel Fidari. Daniel is one of those remarkable professors that if you have one of those in your lifetime, you're very lucky. One or two of those in your lifetime, because he was a remarkable guy. He was a Paralympian. He advised the Israeli army. He's done a bunch of things that they were incredible. So, but his work was in the mindset, and he still is in the mindset. And he's now life is moved to emotional intelligence. But he made me understand that there is something about he made me dabble the early days of human potential. What is possible, and what did we say? How do we view the world? And hence the mindset about money is important. So how do we view the world? How do we yeah, and that's kind of how I landed here.
Okay. All right. So we talk about, we ask people to find their sense of wealth. So you've talked about the kind of the money side of things. Is there more to your definition of wealth than money?
Absolutely. So first you need to define what is success. So one is entry point is what is success, because you may as well want to meditate for the rest of your life. Go to India, live with $10 a day, and you don't need a lot of money for that. $300 a month would be enough. So what is that would make you happy and successful? What is that would, so what's your definitions of success? Now, we live in a Western society, and maybe you want to travel, maybe you want to have a better car, better house, you want your kids, as you have two kids, you want kids to have a good education. All of that costs money. So you need to factor into that. Okay, so for example, a definition for me is I want to provide better opportunities to my children that I had, and I was very lucky. So it's not that. So it's not that I have, because my dad come from a very poor background, and he offered me better opportunities that he had. So it's a ton of a little bit of a legacy, that leg up. So it's beyond me. So money is beyond me. But then things that I like to do, I like to surf up on Haganisho. So and therefore, okay, that costs money. Or I want to travel, and I have families overseas, and all of the things cost money. So in my case, it's not the $300 a month meditating in India. So and I have no problem with that. So everyone choose their path. It's not, but it's being deliberate about the path that you're choosing. And I think another important component, which is it's very important, no, highly overlooked, is how does end of life look for you? And what I mean end of life is the last 10 years.
Yeah.
A lot of people struggle financially for the last 10 years. So even though you may want to buy a new support and a new car and so on, how is the last days of your life will not look like? They're going to be miserable, struggling financially, because the current system that we have is giving people to be heading that way.
Yeah.
So that is also in the component of what is success. And so it's not necessarily about greed. And actually, I don't, as in my coaching engagements, that I talk little about money, but I discover what I'm thinking about money.
Okay.
And then I challenge that. So it's not, yes, let's go and make $1 million. Cool, that will be, and a lot of my clients, that's what they want to do, and that's correct. I support the journey. But first, let's understand what's your definition of success. And I have a very big example. I have a nurse, a practitioner. She's also a businesswoman. So this is a good one. So as a nurse, there is a cap on the salary imposed by the government.
Yes.
But as an investor, And a businesswoman, there is no cat. So she needs to wear both hats. And she needs to understand that as a businesswoman, there is a different space rather than the cap and salary.
Yes.
But now she's also mom.
Yeah.
And she wants to spend time with the children.
Yeah.
So she wants to create a business where she have the space and the bandwidth to spend with the children in the early phase. And she loves vacationing and going on holidays, and they have a cottage and whatever. So all this costs money. So what it means at the end of the day is that I need to have this level of income, and I need to create it also for my children's education and or life opportunities, and also for how life's gonna look towards the end of life.
So I said food planning part.
Yes. Which nobody wants to think about what's going to happen the last 10 years of my life. Nobody. It's just a conversation, or really, or all the other responsible things like to having a will, or we have to decide the estate planning. Yeah, and I think that's a thank you for naming it that way. Naming it because I think this is part of the definition of what is estate money. What are your plans? You want to live your shit or no? Do we say actually?
Yeah.
Go on. Many rich people decide to the children to they have to figure out for themselves. And yeah, but that's their view, bro. I'm not saying that this has to be in a particular way. The important is to be deliberate about that.
Do you find that with the people that you work with, there's commonalities in their mindset, or that by the time you've coached them through that, they then have commonalities? Or is it quite?
I think that is one key element is a willingness to do the work.
Yeah.
Willingness to what? To do the work. Yeah. Willingness to be challenged. Willingness to have a look at, I'm thinking that money is a proof of every evil, but I want to do $1 million. So that's kind of a conflicted intentions. If there is no willingness to have a look at how we think about the world. And by the way, I'm not saying that my way of thinking is the best way of thinking. I'm looking at, you have a way of this thought and this goal. They are misaligned.
Yes.
So maybe you want to keep that because you are particularly religious and therefore need to drop this. Or maybe, no, actually, this is not serving. I want to do this one. So it's not about telling them what to think, but looking at what is not right in the way of goals and thinking and so on. This, by the way, we all have a version of that. No, we're not immune to this. We are programmed from an early days to limitations and what is possible and what is not possible.
So how do you start to take your clients through untangling those limitations?
The moment you set an ambitious goal, that moment things begin to shift because it's like things that's the surface. And by the way, when I have a conversation with someone, I don't understand. I don't have an X-ray machine that can look into the thoughts and say, these are the 10 thoughts that you have that are not going to help that.
Right.
But the moment you have this ambitious goal, and let's call the $1 million goal, whatever that could be, the marathon, whatever. The moment you start doing that, you can go, and you start encountering obstacles, because that's by definition a goal would have obstacles. It could be external obstacles or it could be internal obstacles. But then when the obstacles arises, we look, okay, what does it mean and what does it control? And a place where I pay attention is a language pattern. What is the language that you use in a brand? It will come. It's slightly. Mom is a rules, yeah. Or mom used to say this. By the way, it's a lot of things that come from our parents, and there is not the. My view is the great majority of your parents did the best they did with these resources and the knowledge they have at the time. Now, some of the things were not necessarily helpful or useful to us. Yeah, so it's for us to understand the programming that we have from childhood, from society. So in Australia and New Zealand, we have a top bubble syndrome. So that's a society imposed. I cannot succeed because I will get my check. But yes, my chip to it. So that's my thing. So in one way, I want to succeed, and in another way, I cannot show my friends that I'm succeeding.
Yeah. You mentioned use kind of like people wanting to leave things for their children and some not wanting to do that because they wanted to not spoil them essentially. What's your thoughts around intergenerational wealth?
Um, this is an interesting one because I'm gonna answer from a different angle. I think one of the important thing for my children is I want them to be independent, and part of being independent is struggle through life. As a parent, there's a conflicted intention here.
Yeah.
The last thing we want for our children is to struggle, but they need to struggle to be independent.
Yes.
So I, so my view is that I will create. So I want my children to have opportunities that I didn't.
Yes.
And so therefore intergenerational wealth makes sense. I don't in my case it would be the next generation. Not so some people have enough money to have for 10 generation or two. Usually it's three because the second generation wastes the whole money. But but I don't have that kind of money that will be 10 generation down. But I want them to have opportunities. I want them to one of my kids want to study in France, could offer it. So that would cost money. And so
Yeah.
Do you not think, though, that the lessons that you've taught your children um, are not a form of intergenerational wealth? Like you mentioned earlier, you pick up so much from your parents, right? And so it's like you take from your parents what's useful, you leave behind and forgive them for what's not. Is that not like a flow-on effect?
oh, yes. Well, yeah, I was talking about my children earlier before this start, and I think that I they both love math and science, and that's because at dinner table we had many conversations about math and science. I'm an electronic engineer in my former career, so math was easier for me, and I have a mindset that math is easy. The great majority think that math is difficult. And it's difficult because math is like a pyramid. You have knowledge. So if you are missing one of the blocks along the way, so it's over. So, but it's not that they're gonna make a very simple example. Let's suppose that addition, I'm great at addition, and I go to subtraction, I struggle. It's not that I won't be able to master subtraction. It's just that I need to spend more time there. And this is a very Montessori concept. I need to spend more time in the traffic. Once I master this, I can go to division.
Yes.
But if I haven't got subtraction and I go to division, it becomes very difficult. And then when I go to fractions, I'm just math is very difficult. So, but if we fill the gaps from very every days, math is easy. It's really easy for once they get into calculus and things, and it become a little bit more complicated. But still, the math that we're seeing in the high school today is not that complicated. And yes, problems can be beautiful. My son was interested in the International Math Olympiad, and this is what I call the beautiful math. A problem that you have no idea how to enter it and have no idea, and then when you turn the page and you see uh, how the problem is solved, you say, "Oh my God, it's also simple."
Yeah.
So that mindset is also carried throughout our conversation. So when I come from our clinics in FK, I told my children, "Oh, look at what I have today. This is an idea." And so we talk about $1 million. We talk about so the conversation about money is a conversation that is so limiting to live around this. We don't talk about money.
Yeah.
So and if I don't talk about money, how gonna know? But when I come from the clinical, great idea. This guy had an amazing idea. This is an opportunity here. So I talk about opportunities. I talk about ideas. We talk about and I tell them the journey is we invest $300,000 here, and then it would require $1 million. It's already planted the seed of possibilities. So to answer your question, absolutely, because it's about the possibilities. It's not if I think I'm limited. If I think that my only path is to go to university and have a degree and do that, for some careers could be great, but for others it's just a disaster.
Well, I think we kind of creating this limitation in Western society now, right? What we're saying is, hey, the old dream, whatever that dream was, is now dead. And, the thing that would make one successful, which may be a house or $1 million, we get quite attached to either round numbers or milestones that, we've told are quite good. And that's the only way that's been socialized. So therefore, then there's a resentment around money, the $1 million, and obviously then also property, because it's seen as unobtainable. And it's seen as success, right? When you buy a house, I'm now successful. I was watching a video on this. And it's like, well, that's not the only way to obtain success, but it's the way Western society, same with university as well, actually, is success. And it is success, like to do a degree is, you've sucked at something long enough to get the degree, and that is success. But it's not the only success. And I think in the West, we very much prioritize a few things. And now the kind of regime is shifting, and we now have to adjust, but now we're trying to, I guess, refine our identity. And in that kind of push and pull, I guess we're going to have some kind of tension.
Yeah. I think that, so if we look through history, it's always changing.
Yes.
Now, certainly when I was growing up, it was a stable period in the 80s and 90s. Of 2000 was a relatively stable period. But we have wars in 40s and the 1918 and so on. So we had the Great Depression. So it's always so it's easy to say, well, it's hard today, but it has been hard many, many times. And if you go further back, it was really hard for everyone.
Yeah.
Except for the kings and queens.
And even then, with them, there were some moments probably where medicine wasn't available. There's stuff like that.
So, but what we have today is a plethora of opportunities. It's a plethora of. Now, it's hard to say there's opportunities there when I have enough cash to buy my meals and that's it. But it requires that we open our mind and have the conversation about money in the dinner table, and have the conversation about ideas. So this conversation about ideas and that's why I love the clinics, because it's about ideas. It's about how we support people around what is possible.
Isn't that where universities have gone wrong? Because if you can think about the lineage of universities, there are amazing faculty that would teach you how to think. Whereas today it seems like those institutionalized bodies teach you what to think.
I have a love-hate relationship with. I have 3 degrees, so I have a love-hate relationship with.
If you talk to like one specific professor in
but in that particular MBA, I was very lucky because there were 3 of them, 3 or 4. Actually, one of them is become the professor of the year in MIT. So and it's someone that I can reach. Another one is but the thing about those professors of this constellation that just gathered at a particular time, there were people doing amazing stuff. My teachers were doing amazing stuff outside academia.
Yeah.
A lot of the teachers today are focused on the books and not developing the new ideas. So they're just regurgitating what.
Yeah. I learned quite early on so I did a degree in history, and I learned quite early on that if you told the lecturer in your essays what they wanted to hear, then you would get the A in the A plus. If you challenged them, maybe you wouldn't.
Yes. So we are in a space of not critically think, of regurgitating ideas, and then if someone is teaching you that it's not necessarily a role model for how to create wealth, for example, because academia don't necessarily pay well. So, and again, I have no problem with people following the path of academia. That's what's your definition of success. So my son loved math and physics, and he sees himself maybe being a math professor at university. And I said, the conversation that we have, absolutely do that. But make sure that you have a grounding in how you're going to create some kind of wealth for the zone. So it's not, so that conversation exists. And he said, no, I understand that. it doesn't pay that well, so I need to find other ways. So that conversation is present. And since sometimes it's a little self-defeating saying, oh, they don't pay that well, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. But the conversation is open. The conversation is there to rise as I'm gonna go to university. I'm gonna do a degree that nobody hires me because there's some degrees that nobody hire you. So, and again, I have no problem if you have a passion for X, Y, Z, and then I don't necessarily want to name something in particular, but and that's your gig. That's great. But what are you gonna do with that? And as you said, university, you go to university, you start something, you achieve something good. I have no problem with that. But what are you gonna do with that? How's life gonna look for you, for your children? Because if you graduate from the university and earn pocket money, it's very hard to raise a family. It's very hard to provide opportunities for your family, and it's very hard to have the conversation about what the end of life look like.
So true. So you just mentioned end of life and looking at that 10 years. What does your last 10 years look like?
I am delusional. Listen, I'm 60. Uh, uh, and I'm health perfect. I don't take any medication. And I don't see myself stopping. I love what I do. I really do. I really enjoy having a conversation with someone, having this conversation as you probably enjoy. There's nothing scripted here. And I said, I didn't even prepare to come here.
Yeah.
And I enjoy this. I really enjoy it. So how I will be doing a version of this is somehow I'll be, I don't know, going to my gym, doing my exercises and doing my thing. Where I'll do it is the question. I think the question is no how, is where.
Okay.
Is because I'm loving New Zealand at the moment. And I spent a month in January in Venezuela. And I felt, God, Venezuela is a troubled place to be. So it's many things I love about it. I had phenomenal time. I enjoyed myself thoroughly. And I realized my roots are here. When I came to New Zealand, I don't have deep roots here. So I'm enjoying New Zealand at the moment. My oldest is studying medicine in Otago University. I'll stay here for New Zealand for at least a plane distance from one of my children. Yeah. Where is the question that I am pondering right now? So how I see myself? I see myself contributing. I don't see myself retiring. I have a little keen interest with wood. I would like to do some, fine furniture course, maybe something like that. But it's not. And by way of very practical, it's not a fine furniture is my thing. But I love seeing fine furniture when I see it. So I don't mind doing something like 6 months doing something, a chair or something. Say that. So that could be part of the possibilities. I also have this podcast maybe is international. So it's what we would call a lifestyle property. A lifestyle properties has an acreage and stuff. So I see myself also probably living there, or so I have this possibility there, or in a tiny house that has no maintenance close to a beach that I can go surfing. So I'm in this space of where am I gonna go really? So you caught me in. I don't know the answer for that. So the question is where? Tropical countries surfing, little maintenance, or doing woodworking and in a lifestyle property. And the thing about lifestyle property is that it requires a lot of work, which at the time I enjoy. When I enjoy the work, it's a kind of a way to keep fit.
Yeah.
Yes. So, what piece of advice would you give someone who is starting out on their wealth journey?
Educate yourself, and that go simple, easy. There are many simple books like Rich Dad Poor Dad is a very, very simple book to read, but understand the mindset and all the different qualities. Very simple. Start in Spanish. We have a saying. It says, "Arrópate hasta donde te llega la cobija," which means cover yourself up until the blanket gets you. So, and what it means is that don't overspend. It's easy to spend a lot of money in credit cards and so on. So it's education. Cover your needs, cover your thing. Don't go overboard. Find a way to start saving. And another thing, probably this is, and or creating a business idea. And creating a business idea doesn't have to be the next Apple. It could be, I'm gonna sell ice cream by the beach on a hot summer day. So the description ice cream on the Hitler beach at the hot summer day. So you have clear customers that are gonna be there that you can have access to, and that you can do it part-time or something like that. And by the way, because you love ice cream and you don't love talking to people. But it could be an art. It could be something that you have we all have a niggle for something, a passion for something. Now, how can we just find a way to monetize some of that? So I have a passion for talking to people and enjoying and empowering people. So in my case, my work is my enjoyment in this thing. So if I were talking about working, I wouldn't monetize that. It would be something like having fun with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on.
My pleasure.
Awesome.